Hey.
Hey, Adele, how are you?
Right. How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Well, go ahead. It looks like we're walking over each other this time again.
Oh, that's all right. Well, we'll get our thing down in just a moment. And you know what happened last week?
What happened?
Registration opened.
Yes, that's true.
And
go ahead.
And how's it been?
It's been absolutely amazing. I am just really blown away by all the comments and the encouragement and the support that we've been getting. The courses are doing great. And even the art box presentations are really doing well with the registration. And you could feel the excitement in the community as well.
Absolutely. I think that is what is the coolest thing is you can feel it. You can feel the excitement. And I mean, each of the Facebook groups are open for all the teachers and for the art box, and people are already in there and they're talking and they're having so much fun. And the wonderful thing about signing up right now is they get their supply list so they can start gathering their supplies, which, with the way things are these days, everything has to be shipped. And so it's such a great thing to.
Absolutely, Leslie. And that's the reason why we did such a big push to open it up a month earlier, because we were really concerned about you not being able to get your supplies. And I know that's frustrating. You're trying to start a class and you don't have that certain piece to start everything. So that was our main reason for that. And the other thing that's been real exciting is our bonus gifts that we've been releasing one a week, and they really are enjoying those.
Yes, and they are fantastic. And we have more to come too, which is really, really exciting. And speaking of more to come, we have a very special guest for tonight. And we are so excited to bring Linda Misa, and she is coming from Western Australia. So our times are all over the board. We're in the evening, and she is in the wee hours. Well, not the wee hours, but very early morning where she's at. So thank you for getting up, and let's bring her on.
Hey, Linda.
Hi.
Linda, hi. Welcome.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
We're so glad you're here, and thank you for getting up and having your first cup of coffee and then joining us. It's wonderful.
I definitely did have my first cup of coffee.
Yeah. So we were on earlier, and I was telling Linda, where I live in Arizona, we have monsoon season, and so we're having a lot of really heavy rain for the desert area. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So I'm hoping my power stays on and we'll be all good.
Yeah. Well, I'm noticing that we have a bit of a delay in our conversation, so I'm going to have to deal with that a bit. Let's see. Sandy just came in. Let's say hi to Sandy. Sandy's from Alaska. Hey, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy. So nice to have you here. It's wonderful. So let's start in.
Okay.
So one of the things we like to do, Linda, is we like to step back into your backstory. We just find it really interesting just to put in more context to your work. And sometimes there's a story behind your work. So what was the strongest influence you had when you were growing up?
Look, I guess I grew up in New Zealand. So, little country, not many people, and pre-internet days. So I grew up in a really hands-on environment. I have 4 brothers, no sisters. Yeah, I know. I feel sorry for me. So I grew up making things. I just grew up with that desire to want to make things, and also a need. My family was not well off, but we were certainly comfortable. But if I wanted clothing, I made clothing. And I was really lucky. My mum bought me a sewing machine of my own when I was 7.
Mhm.
I think it was because she had one that was a new one and I kept on wanting to use it. So she bought me a little old Singer, and it was $2. And that's what I grew up sewing on. And yeah, so I think it was kind of a necessity thing, but also just a desire to want to make stuff that set me down that path.
Mm-hmm. So, Linda, that's really interesting. I think the other artists, the other teachers that we've been interviewing pretty much have said the same thing, that as they were growing up and they were little, either sitting by their grandmother and watching them sew, or sitting by their mom, or making costumes. It's funny how we all have that same thread of that story of starting out when we were little. And as we progress, I know we start thinking, why do I make art? So, Linda, why do you make art?
Because it makes me happy. That's easy. I mean, there is nothing like that place that you get to where you are just absorbed in making something, and the rest of whatever's going on in your life just kind of fades to the background. And I don't know, it's just a great sense of accomplishment when you create something of your own. And
so true.
It is just such it's a happy place. I mean, it can be frustrating too. I mean, we all go, when you're making something, when you're designing something, you've got all those processes of how do things work. And I love that engineering part of using my brain as well. And but yeah, fundamentally, I think art just is a happy place. It allows you to let what's ever in your head out.
Yes.
I love that. I find that, for most of us artists, we become so enthralled in what we're doing. It kind of like whatever's going on in the rest of the world, it just all disappears, and we are just so focused in, and, it is our voice. And so I just think art is so, we all do. I think it's so important for us,
Oh, it heals so many people. It is something that everyone should do in some way. And
Sure.
and I really believe that anyone can do art. You just got to have the desire to want to do it. The rest is just doing it, and we all start somewhere, and we all have abilities in different ways, and things that you're not strong with, you can learn, because there's so much information out there. I mean, take a class.
Right. Absolutely. That's a wonderful idea.
Or two.
Right, or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And we are so excited because we know we have a lot of beginners with us this year. And so, I think you talked about like starting. I think that's a big part of it. Is there any other advice you'd like to give beginning artists?
Look, I think don't spread yourself too wide. Like, don't pick 10 different things and try them all at once. Just start with one thing and then practice, and just keep on working at it and observing what you've done, and trying to understand what needs improvement or what you want to work on. But just do it. Keep on doing it, and go through the ugly stages, go through the bad stages. Just that desire is enough to get you past those points, but you have to go through those things to get past that point. And I think there are lots of really clever people out there who have done lots of different things, but have never really focused on one skill to levitate their level of accomplishment. So I think once you find something that you have some affinity with, then just keep going in it, keep learning with it.
That's good advice.
I love that. The whole, it's not really practice makes perfect, but it's practice really. I mean, the more you do it, the more you can do it. And I love that concept.
Yeah, you have to keep and look, the older I get, the more that my hands need to keep on doing those things too. and my brain, it's more than just, not just that skill, but I think it goes across a lot of things in our lives, that the more we do, the better we get at doing them.
That's true. That's true. We keep refining our art. We keep refining it and finding different ways and better ways for it to work, and quicker ways, all of that.
Always. I look, and as a teacher, fundamentally everything that I do, really in the back of my head, I've always got that thought, how can I do this in a way that makes it easier to explain to someone else how I'm doing it? Because I know that I can do the same thing 5 different ways, but not all of them are going to be easy ways to, one, explain, and B, for someone else to do, unless they have that same skill set. So it's a learning process the whole time. Everything that we do, we're learning ourselves.
Right. And I think that's a great point. As being a teacher, you're still learning, I mean, like you said, not only are you learning techniques or developing new techniques, you're also learning how to vocalize them or to express them to your students, Yeah.
And even I find even just the language thing, because having the experience of coming to America and teaching over there, and I would say things and people would look at me like, what are you talking about? Right. So I find that's quite fun too. That's a great thing about traveling and interactions with people from all around the world, is that we think that everybody, to a degree, understands the way our brain works and how we talk and what we say, but you go somewhere else and that's not the way they explain something or the words that they use, and so art and this kind of transaction of teaching and learning is wonderful for all parts of my life.
Yes. And I think that, like you were saying, as you travel and somehow, even if we're all speaking the English language, there's still a little bit of glitches in there. And that is, that's part of like the delight of it, because it'll just catch you right off guard. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Although I'm sure a lot of my students have gone, oh,
yeah. So we have a couple other people saying hello.
Well, we have Sarah Baker. Let's see.
Hi, Sarah.
We're glad that you're here. I hope you're still here. I know she came in earlier.
Yeah.
And we have a Facebook user.
And Facebook user, if you can tell us who you are, we would love to know who you are. This streams in many different places, and so sometimes it doesn't let us know who you are. So if you let us know who you are, we would love to say hello back. So that'd be great. So let's. Oh, there's Veronica, just came in.
Hey, Veronica. We're glad that you're here.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Let's jump into the studio. And I love this part because I feel like this gives the students a really personal feel about how you work. Can you tell us, what is your most important tool?
Well, apart from my fingers, probably is just a little, look, I even have a model. Let me take that.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
A little sculpting tool, because I don't use a lot of fancy things. So was that there?
Okay.
But just a little tool with a little scoopy end and the flat end. I find that is really handy. That and a size 02 round paintbrush. They would be my go-to tools that really you can do anything with.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
So Linda, in your studio, I'm sure like most of us, we have sewing machines, sergers, and everything else in there, the kitchen sink sometimes. Is there something in particular in your studio that you cannot live without?
Well, I've usually got my dog in the studio. But
Yeah.
Your assistant. It's your assistant, right?
Yeah, I know, and you will hear her on my videos. She's very vocal, and I do apologize, and I have apologized for that. Look, I have different spaces around the house. I have a painting space. I have my sculpting space. I have another room which used to be my yoga room, and now I have that as my storage space, and then I have my sewing room. So my husband only has the garage, or half the garage.
That's generous of you, Linda.
The rest of the house. So look, I guess I like the quiet. I like to just work away, and I'm lucky that I think the art that we're involved in, it's a very forgiving art that you can come and go from. Like, I can sculpt a piece and I can leave it, and then I can come back a day later and keep working on it. So there's nothing in particular that I have to have. I've always got an animal nearby, but otherwise I'm pretty flexible.
Yeah.
I like someone over my shoulder. My husband gets the evil eye when he does that.
Yeah. I think when we're creating, most of us really love that solitude, so that we can just be in our head and just do what we want to do. Yeah.
And you don't get those, what does it look like that?
Right.
Right. Because it's not finished.
Right. I'm just figuring this out. I got to get there. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
And do you have an element of your art that you enjoy working with the most?
Look, I love clay. I do love clay, but I'm a textile girl as well. I grew up dancing. I'm a tap dancer. I'm actually a qualified tap teacher.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah.
Yep. The tap dancing lessons in the middle of the classroom.
Okay.
So look, I love it all, really. I love painting. I love paint. Color is my thing. I guess I would just say I'm drawn to color the most. That's what excites me, and that's how I see my world. When I look out the window, my brain sees the color first, and then it goes to the shapes and what the objects are. But I'm a very observant person, but I don't know if I look at the way, I think probably I look at the way the artists look at the world, but that isn't necessarily the way that everyone looks at the world and what we see around us. But yeah, I love color. Color makes you happy as well. The right colors are really important. People, and it goes right through, people don't realize, I think, how important color is in their lives. How omnipresent it is, and that everything from your clothing, but your colors you choose to paint the walls on your house, all those things have an effect on you. And if you understand what colors you respond to, I think that makes for a happier environment to live in.
Yes. Well, that's very interesting that you bring that up, Linda, because that's our whole theme for this summit is about color. And even our little color box that we did, Leslie, do you have that close by?
I do. I do. Yes.
Which is
talking Adele.
Which is interesting because on the back of the pages it has about what the colors mean, and spiritually and generally. There it is. So those are great pieces to have and use and to refer to when we're doing a project. So I can see that's pretty much you like that process of color, right? And when you're starting to work on a piece, yeah, that's great. And when you start your process and you go through all of it, when do you know your piece is finished, Linda?
Well, I guess to me, there's got to be a main element, and then there's got to be 2 or 3 interesting things that go with it. So little sub elements. So when I feel like I've got those, so the eye just doesn't go to the center, that it can work around the piece and it's drawn to other interests in it, then that's when I feel that I'm done. I like to get that balance of, not just a central piece. I think it's the little details that make the difference. To me, it's the little details at the end of the day that make the difference of whether someone wants to really stop and explore what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are times when I've done pieces and I've thought they've been done and I've walked away. And I think if you're not 100% sure, that's the key, isn't it? Just get up, walk away, come back to it the next day with fresh eyes, because you do get to the point where you no longer can see what you're looking at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
You need that bit of space. Sometimes you need somebody's offhand comment.
Yeah.
Time, but you come back and go, okay. But yeah, most of the time I can make that decision, but yeah.
That's great.
I love that. Some people this happens with, some people this doesn't, or I should say some artists. Do you ever reach a creative block? And if you ever have that, what do you do?
I'm pretty lucky that I just have stuff in my head, but I think if I'm stuck on one thing, I go to another discipline. Mm-hmm. So because I paint as well as sculpt, and I sew and do other creative things, or garden, or just I think there's always some other creative outlet that then opens that channel again. If you've got a break, going out into the garden's one of the best things, even if you don't garden, but just getting out amongst nature. There are all your answers for finding out what colours go together, what are complementary colours, what shapes work. You just go and look at some flowers, go and look at some trees, and just that's the best.
It is. It's all there right for you. I mean, and it's in perfect balance, which is always amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing when you think about it. It is amazing.
Yes.
All the answers are right there, and nature just
right there. And it's
we think we're the ones designing stuff, but we're not.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah.
Not.
So we have a few people that have come in. Let's see here. Here's our Facebook user. Hi, Maria.
Maria, hi.
Victoria, Australia?
No, she's from Victoria.
But isn't there a Victoria in Canada?
Canada.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
well, we'll just say Australian because
we can say that. And then we have Jessie. Hey, Jessie.
Hi, Jessie.
Glad you joined us.
Good girl, Jessie. I'm looking forward to meeting with you.
Yay. Oh, that's so good.
Yes, it is good advice to practice what you love to do, for sure.
It's fun anyway. I mean, it's not like it's hard work. Practice is fun.
Yeah. Right. And Veronica, she says it's nice to have a pet. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all have pets. Well, I have a pet. I have a cat. Leslie, you've got a dog.
I got a dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are our assistants.
The only thing I don't like about him is she's a white border collie and she's furry.
Oh,
so, if you come and stay, you will take home some of my dog with you. Really.
It's the same thing with our cat. It sheds a lot. And then Linda has a question here for you.
Look, I usually do have a color in mind. Yeah, I do. I think it's not it'll be a primary color that is not primary colors, but it'll be the main color I'll have in mind, probably because if I'm, say, like painting, it's because I know it's going to go in a position. So I know what colors I kind of want to work with, or it could be for a commission for someone. And so I've asked them what colors do they like, but that one color will then help determine the rest of it. It also could be a piece of fabric. If you've got a piece of fabric that you really love and you go, I really want to use that as my major color, and then that allows me to easily find its complementary colors and go from there. But I think even though when I sculpt, obviously I'm sculpting in clay that's white, so there is no color. I would have thought about the color of what I'm going to do, but I don't allow that to come into the sculpting process. I just enjoy the sculpting with the white. And then once I've done that, then it's like a whole new piece again once you start adding color to it.
That's interesting.
And so we want to talk about your art and inspiration too. And most artists do have like a favorite piece, but each art is very individual and every one is very unique. And so is there something that you designed that you just like really feel you love and it just so speaks your voice?
Well, I've got one here.
That works out great.
Where are we? Oh, there we are.
Oh,
this one here.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me put you on a bigger screen. Hold on a second so we can
that's
see.
so great.
Long,
There we go.
long piece. So let me turn it that way. Okay, she is made out of a lamp base. It was a lamp base that one of my kids had, and around the bottom are the words, gathering up bits of the world and putting them in an order so that my children will understand. So that was kind of how I guess probably see my role as a mother. This hat was actually a computer piece out of a computer that my son took apart, and well, it's quite heavy, so it might pop off. And the little bird, the little wax eye, was a little bird that we used to have a lot around. And then there's lots of little pieces on it. The clothing is all being needle felted and then free machined. So it was all put together with bits and pieces, but and it was actually in the Art Doll magazine and as an article on her. And I guess I really like it because it was telling a story about what I felt about my role as a mother, and just, you know, how it's about trying to make sense of this world for our children as best you can, and trying to do it in an artistic way. So I guess that's a piece that I'll always keep, and yeah, one of my favorites, I suppose you could say.
That's fun.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
And I love that, you know, you have like actual pieces, like that computer piece hat is like so wonderful, you know, and just, I love that there's like bits and pieces from your reality, your real life that you've created into that piece.
Yeah. Well, there was even a little bit of metal on the base of it, which was dug. We had a property in Tasmania when we were living there, and it was there used to be a house in there in the 1800s, and they had their tip site down on the hillside, and we dug it up as we were putting a road down, and so we found all these bits and pieces of, you know, pottery and beads and dolls' heads. And that was a little bit of metal that just happened to be the shape of Tasmania, which is where we were at the time. And yeah, you know, I look at it and it gives me a memory of that time as well. And the lamp base, because it had two little arms, two little telescopic arms, and that's what the legs were built on. So it was
that's interesting.
It was pre-made.
That's great. Well, Linda, when you start in a new project, what inspires you?
Okay. Well, it depends what the project's for. Okay. So say when I go and teach in America, I would do things like I would look at the area that I'm going to. I would research about that area, whether there were, you know, plants or some kind of shapes or things that were particular for that state or that town or whatever, and just like say in Tulsa, I did a workshop in Tulsa, and I found the Tulsa rose, which is a stone. And so I based the colors and the shapes around that item. And yeah, I think I'm very conscious of what the output's for. Because to me that just makes it easier for me then to work on a design, is kind of go, who's going to be seeing it, who's going to want to make it, and try and make something that actually engages the person that I'm designing for. It's not, you know, it's not just about me. Not when it comes to teaching. When I'm working on pieces which are just mine, I don't have to explain them, I don't have to teach them. That's a whole different designing process. That's, you know, that's me just letting loose. But I probably hold a bit tighter when I'm designing for teaching, because I am aware of the different levels of ability out there, and so I'm trying to think about what other people might want to see or learn.
Well, and that's such a beautiful statement, because it takes us right into our next part of it is, so you have two pieces that you are teaching with us, and they are both really, really lovely and wonderful. And you want to bring one up, Adele, and we'll talk about it.
I'm going to bring, this one is,
yeah.
Okay,
well,
so that's
this one is Connect. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that one is I love doing the whole clay pieces, and that one it's got that addition of the little shadow box that you can put it into. I've done it so she's actually freestanding within that shadow box, but you could glue her into there if you wanted to. But she's about color and form and texture, and just playing with shapes and clay, and really understanding how fun clay is to work with and how forgiving. I mean, the amazing thing about that clay is that you could cut her head off and put a whole new one on and be able to seamlessly put it back together again, so you don't know. And I go, how cool is that? There's not many art forms that you really can just, get the old blade out and cut off her shoulders, or, reshape her nose and be able to put it back together again. It's still not look like you've done repair work on it. It's pretty cool.
And, I really like your whimsical pieces, Linda. You always seem to incorporate something a little extra, like that bird sitting on her head.
I do love my birds. I do apologize for that, but I do love birds. Are just such amazing little creatures, and really you could shape any kind of bird out of your head, and there probably is a bird out in the real world that looks like that. Unbeknownst to us, there is just so much amazing inspiration out there. But yeah, I think it's that little extra element thing that I like. I think,
yes.
And who doesn't? Well, not everyone likes birds, I have to say. I have come across some.
Well, she's wonderful.
Well, and I love the flowers in that piece too, in the flowers in the shadow box, and then the flowers being carried across her shoulders too. I think it's really wonderful.
Yeah,
again,
I love that.
Flowers, nature, colors, they're just simple forms, but you can really create anything with, and you don't need anything fancy to do it.
Right.
There are amazing molds out there, don't get me wrong. If you've got them or want to get them, absolutely use them. But really the shapes are simple things with a paintbrush and a little sculpting tool, and really you can create anything you want.
Right. And then do you have your other...
Sorry. Sorry. Do you have that piece with you?
I do. That way you can get
there she is.
Oh, yeah. She looks like me today.
Oh, she
does. You planned that, didn't you?
I did. Yeah,
she's wonderful.
So she just comes out of the little box. But,
that's really
I think the little box could be quite a fun thing too. I was thinking that, I've just used really simple papers into the background, but you could get really creative with that. You could even have textiles in there and hand stitching, and just really make a whole different diorama based on, whatever skills you like or you have. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of textile-based skills that, that could be a really nice way to fill the box as well.
That's lovely. I love the flowers. It's so nice.
I know. And I love the option, that you can put her in the box or take her out of the box. I think that is really, really wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could adjust the size to whatever box you may or may not have at home as well.
Right.
But those boxes were actually drawer liners, and I think they're quite common. If they're common here, I know they're common in America. Easy things to get hold of.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Something else you have to consider when you're designing in another country too.
Absolutely.
That's true.
You don't always get the same things, and so you have to.
So we have to just improvise and figure it out.
Yeah,
that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah,
that's one of the fun parts of it. Is then you know, like kind of like when you're doing sewing. I can remember when I did clothing design as my training, and being a student, you know, didn't have a lot of money, and you go buy, you know, a piece of fabric, and it would be like the end part of the bolt, and so you only had, you know, 1.5 yards, and you probably really needed 2, and then you went and cut the pattern out, and you realized you cut 2 left sleeves.
Yeah.
And you had no more fabric left, and I go, that is when you became a creative clothing designer.
Right.
Because you then have to work stuff out, and I kind of apply those principles some ways to what I'm doing, is that I don't have an abundance of stuff, and a lot of stuff I have is random one-off pieces that, you know, I've picked up along the way. And so I think that helps in people's creativity. In fact, it helps more in your creativity to work with that kind of situation and having everything perfect and available, because then it becomes overwhelming for people if there's too much perfection to choose from. I think random and odd helps you be creative.
Yes, that's
right.
true.
And, you know, I always tell my students, you know, doll making is just creative problem solving. And that's really what art is. And you kind of almost want to run into those obstacles because it makes you think more, you know, like, what else can I do then? Yeah.
How do I fix that mistake that I've just made?
Right. How am I going to make that sleeve go on the other side? Yeah.
And then we have the other class that you're teaching too, Linda, which is fabulous. I love the colors on that piece.
So, Frida.
There we go.
Yeah, really wonderful.
Necklace that caught up there. Sorry about that, Frida.
She's
Again,
great.
another piece of where's that camera?
There we are.
The
other way.
Vintage, other way, that way.
There you go.
Vintage fabrics and just bits of, you know, jewelry and lace and just again fun. But the clay face and a little bit of clay combination, sort of adding a little bit dimension to the hands, and of course where's the little bird? There we go. Yeah,
there's the bird. I love that.
But fun just making some hair as well, you know, a simple method, but an effective one. I think sometimes wigging can be a really confusing thing for people or a daunting thing for people, but this is, you know, it's a really simple method that I think you'll be able to apply for a lot of different dolls. So yeah, again, just playing with fabrics and it's fun.
Yeah.
Linda, can you bring her face a little closer to the camera so they can see her a little bit more? Yeah, because she's really stunning. Yeah.
She even has lipstick on, Leslie.
Of course she does. Frida always wore lipstick. Yes.
Interesting life that woman had, though. Gosh.
I know.
You know what she went through, and
her story is absolutely fascinating. Fascinating woman.
And so lovely that so many people have taken it on as something to inspire them and make them happy. I think, you know, that whole thing of, you know, she epitomized how color made and flowers made her happy, and jewelry, and just it's like, doesn't matter what other people think, just go for it. Fun.
Right. I love that about her.
That's true. Well, we're just so excited that you're here with us, Linda, and that you're teaching these classes. And I know that we can feel the excitement, especially when we have questions about your class and they want to know more about it. And it's just, it's really a great opportunity for them to take classes from you.
Right. And
sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just, you know, I would have loved to have been back over in America and miss you all, my friends over there. And this is another way that we can have some interaction. And I'm really looking forward to catching up with people in the classroom. And at least I know a number of you will understand my weird jokes and funny way of saying things. And And I look forward to
they're
having
going to
some
love
live.
you, Linda. They're going to love you.
Yeah,
I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think they're so excited that you're here. They're just, don't worry about your dog barking. Don't worry about any of that.
Yeah.
I'll bring her on live. Actually, I would have brought her on live, but my husband took her out for a walk. Otherwise, she probably would have been just right over there going, oh.
Yeah, that's great. Well, like I said, it's great for you to be here. And I know that they want to know more about you. So is there something in particular that you would like to share with the audience, something of another interest that you have?
Well, apart from tap dancing?
Well, tell us about your tap dancing. Tell us.
Okay, well, I started tap dancing when I was 4.
Okay.
And by the age of 12, I had got my teachers and I started my first little dance school when I was 12. And I think that's had a big influence again, colors, sequins, textiles, makeup, all those things it's kind of, I look at my life and I go, I'm a jack of all trades and master of none in a lot of ways, but all those things I've done. I did beauty therapy as well. And so makeup artistry, and I think it just all, it just makes sense when it comes to what I do. Is all those things that I've grown up with are just who I am. It's not like I've had to find something. I did wait. I've got 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and it was our 3rd child, which was our daughter, and she was my reason or my excuse for starting making dolls, I suppose. So I made my first doll for her first birthday. Then I went and I made it out of a magazine because I thought that's what I had to do. And I was very like, whoa, I hope I'm getting this right. And then I found a doll group and I went to it, and I was in Tasmania. And of course, who was I lucky enough to have in the doll group but our beautiful Susie McMahon?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I walk into this group and I'm going, oh, so that's and then I realized through Susie and other really talented members there that there were no rules. And it was like, now I get it. Now I'm okay. Now I know there's no rules. I can just do what I like. And it was such a freeing experience. And that's what I love about art and art dolls, is that there are no ruls. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter how you make something. As long as it holds together, as long as it does fall apart when you pick it up. Although sometimes those things happen too, don't they? But you go, oops. Especially when clay is such a funny thing because it's so light. And so people pick up a little sculpture and it's kind of like almost throw it over their shoulders because they don't realize how light it is. But yeah, just, it's something I've been able to have fun with. And I feel very grateful that my life is sort of, taking me up both on my dad, my paternal side and maternal side. My great grandmother was a painter, and my mum's mum was a maker. She used to. My grandma, I would have loved to have known her as an adult because she used to wear wigs and makeup and jewellery, and she'd have first dolls, and she just spent her time making stuff. Her house was full of stuff. And as a kid, I couldn't really appreciate that, unfortunately, not to the extent I would have as an adult. And so my mum grew up in that kind of environment, and too. And I know my daughter and my kids do too. My family are very hands-on. I can remember my daughter at the age of 3 or 4, she broke her hairbrush, and instead of chucking it out, she went and found the hot glue gun and glued it back together again.
Yeah.
Well, we have a question for you, Linda. Let's see. Veronica's got a question for you.
Okay. Well, I use the La Doll brand. I use the premix one, which is a combination of their clay and their La Doll. It's the kind of halfway between. It's between their stone clay and their whitest one. So I find that's really, really nice clay to work with. Just soft and easy.
Yeah.
Very forgiving. It's just such a forgiving thing to work with. Nothing that you can do wrong. There's nothing that you can do wrong that you can't undo with it.
Yeah.
It's very forgiving. Very great for any experienced people, but wonderful for new people using it.
And that's an air dry clay, right?
Yes.
It is, yeah. I do dry, and I'll give you a little tip. This is my tip for the day.
Okay, bring it on.
The day is I dry as I work. So I sculpt it and I dry it, and I put it in a little turbo oven, a little electric oven, and I dry, not fully dry, but I partially dry as I work. That way I'm never squishing my nose off the face when I've already sculpted the nose. So I think it's, I'm sure a lot of people do the same kind of thing, but that's my method of working, is do a little bit, dry a bit. So that way you can come and go at any stage too, which is, again, it's not like earthenware clays where you've got to keep working, or certain clays you have to keep working with, and then you're done. This, you can just come and go as you please. So it's very good when you're like, I'm in my kind of kitchen / living / dining. So you can just do a bit of cooking or whatever, and then come back and work with the clay, and good.
Well, that's good. It all works out, doesn't it? One at the end.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great having you, Linda.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. And we're so excited that you're here with us. And Adele and I are so excited that we're able to bring, people and teachers and students and, everybody from around the world together. And it's just so cool. So we love being able to talk to you and, and like in person. And so it's really wonderful. Yeah.
I think in the way that we are in the world at the moment, it's really important to have happy. Yes. And this is something really that people can focus on, that, is something to look forward to. And I think we really all need something positive to look forward to. And for me, I really appreciate being part of it, because, the world out there at the moment is, I just want to stay in paint and stay in paint. Yes. Nice to be able to share those experiences again, and because I can't get on a plane and come and see you all at the moment.
Right.
Well, that's really important for Leslie and I to connect, and excuse me, that's why we're making this big effort to do these interviews and to have the students get to know you, whether they're taking from you or not, or maybe later on, but they're also it's making a better connection personally too, because they're getting to find out a little bit of insight on you as well.
It doesn't send them running for the hills.
No, I don't think so.
No, I love it. Yeah. And we do have one more question.
Yes, I see it here. Let me see.
Yeah.
There we go.
Absolutely. Yep. Whatever clay that you are happy using. I've used creative paper clay a lot as well, and it's another really good one. So yeah, I have no problems with the type of clay that you have. I would say that if you're using one, you're familiar with it, keep on using that. If you're not using a clay at the moment, then start with the one that I recommend. But otherwise, if you've got them already, yeah, no problem using any of them. They all have slightly different properties on how they work, and how much water they kind of like to come when you're working with them. But I have no problem with whatever clay you want to use.
That's fantastic for them to know. Yeah, definitely. Well, Linda, thank you so much for taking this time with us today, this morning, this evening, depending on where you are. And I love that we have, no matter where we are in the world, that we can connect with you and connect with each other. And we love your pieces. We know your classes are going to go really, really well. So thank you.
It's exciting. And yes, thank you for taking the time to visit with us. And we will be seeing you soon again.
A nice way to start my day. Thank you.
Good. And a good way to end our day.
Yes, definitely.
So take care, Linda. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda.
We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was great.
Isn't she fantastic?
Yes, lovely.
Yeah. And I feel like, with her, if you're just starting in clay or you're even experienced in clay, her class is going to be so fantastic. She is such a great teacher that, and like she said, color, I mean, that's our theme. So, what a great inspiration to really step out and explore color with her. That will be so much fun.
Yes, I just, in fact, I told her before we went live how wonderful her classes are. Her lessons were really interesting. I was peeking through them as I was loading them up.
Yeah.
I went, oh, I wish I could take that class.
Yeah.
As you know, Leslie, we have zero time for anything right now.
I know, we don't get to take any of these classes.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
We just have to live it through everybody else. It
Right.
looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that Linda said that was really interesting, and it's been repeated, is that all of the things that we have learned through our life, like she said, tap dancing, because it's very colorful and enthusiastic. I mean, it all works with whatever we work in, in a project I'm talking about.
Yes. Isn't that, I think, like we really do bring our life with us into the art, whatever our background is, we bring it into our art. And I think that's one of the reasons that these interviews are so interesting, is because you get a little bit of feel like, what makes this teacher tick? Why are they going in that direction? And I think that is something really interesting and really fun to know.
Yes, it was interesting. And one thing that I really picked up on, and I didn't say anything to Linda, but when she was talking about balancing the colors, and that comes a lot because she's a painter. So painters are always looking for balance in their painting, because that's my background. I paint it. And when I do like costumes, I do the same thing. I try to balance out my colors. And like she says, she wants the eyes to go over all the project, not just zone in on one area,
Right.
So that's the same thing for a painting. You don't, unless you're just directing them to that one spot, but you like them to look at the whole painting. So yeah, it's lovely to have the teachers on here, or any of our artists on here, because it's great to get to know them.
Yeah, definitely.
So Sharon Mitchell just popped in. Hey, Sharon.
Hey,
Glad
Sharon.
you came in.
Yeah, nice to see you, or see your name.
Well, we can't see you, but we do see your name.
We see your name, yes.
And here's something. Well, you're welcome. We're excited about doing these interviews too.
I know, we love it. Yeah, and we're so glad that all of you guys joined us tonight or this morning. So it's been really great. And I think you guys are going to learn so much from all of these teachers. Adele and I spent a long time really figuring out the balance again of these teachers. So we are so thankful that you joined us this evening. And remember, if you have any other questions, reach out to Adele or me, or any questions this will be recorded, so you guys can watch it again if you jumped in at the last minute. And you can also ask questions there too. Definitely.
Yep, and we'll get back to you. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your support. Your encouragement, because it's been a long road for us. We've been at this for a year, trying to pull this summit together. But we're 50 days away.
Oh man, drum roll, man! It's coming. Yeah,
it is coming.
And one thing that Adele and I talked about at the beginning too is, if you are thinking about signing up for a class, sign up as soon as you can, because you can get your supply list right now, and you can also jump right into the Facebook group. So things are already happening. The teachers are already engaged with their students. If you have to order a supply, this will give you plenty of time to get your supplies. So sign up, and that supply list will be waiting for you.
Okay, everyone. Have a great evening or a good morning, wherever you are.
Yes. Thanks, you guys. We're so happy. Bye-bye.